Hello, this is my final research project for Art 113. My topic focuses on the artist Jacques-Louis David. I will be discussing how three of David's artworks and how they were used as advocacy for the French Revolution. In addition, I will be talking about the change from Rococo art to neoclassical art. My inspiration for this topic came from Jacques-Louis David's Oath of the Horae. Before I analyze the three artworks, I want to give some information about the artists. In the book, Jacques-Louis David, Empire to Exile, it explains the bibliography of Jacques-Louis David and how he was the most celebrated and controversial painter of his day. It details the exploration of David's work under the Napoleon's empire up to his last years in Brussels. David first learned how to paint by taking literary studies and a course in drawing. At the age of 18 years old, he enrolled in the Royal Academy of Painting and Sculpture. The French Revolution was a period of radical political and societal change in France starting from 1789 to 1799. Jacques-Louis David was a leader of the French Revolution where he was a prominent member of the radical Jacobin Party. He has organized many propaganda festivals and artworks of France's new republic. In the journal article The Rococo as a Dream of Happiness, the author Remy G. Cizelin states that the Rococo was a decorative style that flourished in its curves and serpentine lines. However, Jacques-Louis David was well known for the creation of the late 18th century neoclassical reaction against the Rococo style. In the book, The Destruction of Art, Iconoclasm and Vandalism Since the French Revolution, it expresses how the French Revolution marked a decisive shift in the history of the destruction and preservation of art. However, it does not technically mean that it was a negative effect. The book talks about how the view of art after the French Revolution has changed and taught artists a new way of defining, producing, and valuing their artworks. The first artwork I would like to introduce is The Death of Socrates. According to Joy of Museum, this painting depicts the execution of Socrates as told by Plato. Socrates has been convicted and sentenced to death by the Athenian courts due to him, quote, corrupting the youth of Athens and introducing strange gods. Socrates is seen in a white robe sitting upright on a bed. His right hand is reaching for the cup of poison and his left hand is gesturing in the air. Socrates' students and his loyal followers are surrounding his bed while being in emotional distress. Plato is shown slumped over and sitting at the end of the bed. David's inspiration for this artwork comes from Plato's Phaedo and used that as his reference. Unlike the Rococo style that uses mythological themes and delicate brushwork, this painting incorporates neoclassical characteristics such as classical subject matter, harmonious composition, and a precise draftsmanship. While the figures are interacting with one another, their movements are posed. The figures are arranged in a staged fashion in order to showcase a higher balance and detail. There is a use of bold, strong lines and minimal ornamentation. In terms of the French Revolution, Camden Curie, a writer for Medium, expresses how the death of Socrates portrays the classical theme trial and execution, and with an underlying message of resisting against France's unfair ruling authority during those times. The painting was exhibited at the Salon of 1787, where Socrates was viewed as a hero to those seeking political and economic reforms. The next artwork I would like to present is the lictors bringing Brutus the bodies of his sons. According to Annenberg Lerner, this painting depicts Lucius Junius Brutus, founder of the Roman Republic, condemning his own sons to death because they had supported the monarchy. His sons were engaged in a plot to restore the overthrown monarchy, which is an action punishable by death. Lictors, or in other words, Roman officers, are seen bringing in his sons' bodies for burial. Brutus sits impassively in the shadow of the goddess Roma. His wife and daughters, portrayed by bright light, are seen grieving at the sight of the corpses. This artwork showcases a clear geometry of form and linear contours. His relief-like composition stretches the picture plane. Instead of painting the subject matter as a documentary or literary evidence, David paints the actual moment of the story being depicted. The Rococo paintings were more ornamental and theatrical in style, while neoclassical drew inspiration from classical antiquity. As seen in this artwork, the artist sticks to a stricter classical lines with a muted color palette. In terms of the French Revolution, this artwork was displayed in the Salon of 1789, where the fall of the Bastille had already taken place. Since the painting portrays Burrus choosing the preservation of the Republic over the preservation of his family, many scholars interpreted this painting with the theme of sacrifice for the sake of the Republic. To include, this painting played a huge influence on the Revolution's fashions, furniture, and hairstyles. David aimed for absolute historical correctness in his figures, furniture, and costumes. The last artwork I would like to talk about is The Death of Marat. According to Dr. Beth Harris and Dr. Steven Zucker from Smart History, Jean-Paul Marat was a radical journalist and a politician during the French Revolution. He was a close friend of Jacques-Louis David and was well known for being passionate about the rights of the poorer classes. This painting depicts the murder of Marat instigated by Charlotte Corday during the height of the Reign of Terror. Charlotte assassinated Marat by stabbing him to death while he was bathing. Charlotte would then use the excuse that Marat had a painful skin condition that made him lie in the bathtub for hours in order to escape punishment. However, she was later executed for her actions. Marat is seen holding his killer's letter of introduction in his hand while a bloody knife lays on the floor. The Rococo style uses a pastel color palette that gives the painting a sensuous coloring while including serpentine lines, but this painting is organized in a geometrical essential layout where the pictorial space is divided into equal parts above and below Marat's face. A low relief crossed by transversal lines are evoked in the painting, and the line creates a harmony that contrasts with the warm color tones. The dark, empty background gives the atmosphere an eerie feeling where Marat's body is abandoned in the midst of nothing. To add, David portrays Marat as a Christ-like figure by incorporating Christian iconography in order to express the passion of Christ and the tortures he underwent. The death of Marat was known as the true symbol of the French Revolution, and it was the artwork that pioneered Jacques-Louis David's new genre of painting known as neoclassical. Neoclassicism was seen as the movement that revived the idealized art of ancient Greece and Rome. During the Reign of Terror, David renounced his activities in order to escape death and was later released from his cell when Napoleon Bonaparte became France's new ruler. In conclusion, I discussed how Jacques-Louis David's artworks were used as advocacy for the French Revolution, as well as talking about the difference of Rococo art to neoclassical art. From his paintings such as The Death of Socrates, The Lictors Bringing Burrus the Bodies of His Sons, and The Death of Marat, Jacques-Louis David was appointed by Napoleon as the first painter to the emperor. Through David's achievements, he was commissioned to commemorate the emperor's inaugural ceremonies. Jacques-Louis David also became well known as the 19th century painter who was the principal proponent of the neoclassical style. Thank you for listening. Here are my sources.